Having a multiverse is going to be the end of Marvel and DC.
What? What the f?
And here's why. Now, inherently, there's nothing wrong with having a multiverse of characters that the studios are able to draw from. The problem that you're going to run into is that if a character dies, they can just hop over to a different universe and bring him back like nothing even happened. And it goes beyond just the characters themselves. The same problem can extend to the actors. Got an actor you don't like? Doesn't get along with others? Maybe they have some drama going on right now that you don't really want attached to your movie. Well, say no more, friend. The multiverse is here to help. Either kill him off and bring in a brand new actor playing the same character, or just put him in a pocket universe to never be seen again. No problems here. Except, there is a problem. Because if they can just hop to a new universe, bring back that character, or bring in a new actor, then what's the point? Now, don't get me wrong. The multiverse can also be a good thing. I mean, take a look at Spider-Man No Way Home. That is probably one of the best Marvel movies we've had in quite a while, and probably will have for a long time. We start to run into problems with films like Multiverse of Madness. I mean, think about it. How many different Doctor Stranges were in that film? How quickly did they all get taken out? And speaking of that, how quickly were they able to take out the Illuminati? You're supposed to be your universe's version of the Avengers. How did this happen? I mean, it is pretty cool that you're able to get all of these characters coming from across the multiverse, and like in Secret Wars, you're going to have them all converge in one point. Yeah, awesome. You can see all these characters interact together. That's fine. Problem is, they're not the original. They're not going to be the ones maintaining moving forward, and it's all fan service. Good fan service at that, yeah, I'll give that to you. I don't care. I love the films. And I'll be excited to see more crossovers in the future. However, it's not going to be long lasting. And that's the problem. Everything is temporary. Let's change gears a little bit and talk about The Flash. The Flash is going to be DC's first multiversal movie, in live action at least. This film is going to see Barry Allen going back in time to change the past, to stop his mom from dying. And by doing so, as you can see in the trailers, changes his universe more than he could have ever imagined. Bringing in characters like Michael Keaton's Batman, changing Superman to Supergirl, and even more damage. But the only way that anything in this film will have any kind of impact, any kind of character change, and anything that we watch having any kind of significance moving forward is not with having Michael Keaton's Batman, it's not with having Supergirl, it's not with having General Zod again. It's all going to come down to one thing. If the film wipes away what was before and establishes a new canon. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter. They could have just done that with a reboot. They didn't need to have that happen in The Flash. Will people enjoy it? Absolutely they will. Is it cool that they're finally doing an homage to Flashpoint? Yeah, sure, why not? But the thing is, all of that could have been done without this film. It could have been done with just a new universe, a reboot. How many times have we seen that done before? They're using the multiverse to bring in characters like Michael Keaton's Batman in order to sell more tickets. I get it, that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. However, him being in the movie won't change the outcome of the movie. And unfortunately, that's the case for most of the characters in that film, minus the Flash himself. And you know what? Same thing with Marvel. They'll do these giant multiversal crossovers, yeah, that's fine. But at the end of the day, everything gets reset to the status quo. It's pointless. Everything goes right back to where it was. The movies are turning into versions of sitcoms. You have the characters start off in one place, go through a mini hero's journey, let's say, end up exactly where they were, nothing really changed. All returning back to the status quo. And I mean, sure, that can be fine for some people, but for me personally, I don't find it as interesting as others might. Because realistically, all they're doing is just polishing up a story as much as they can, slapping as many bells and whistles on it, and hoping to God you don't look past all of that and see it for the turd that it really is. And I'm going to contrast all of this by saying, No Way Home did it right. Was No Way Home a multiversal movie? Yeah, absolutely it was. Did it bring in characters from across the universes that all left and went back to their respective homes afterwards? Yes, it absolutely did. However, did them being in the movie make an impactful change that made Spider-Man not be in the same place he was at the beginning? I would say 100% hands down yes. I mean, think about it. If the multiverse didn't collide, If these characters didn't come from across from their own universes into Tom Holland's universe, the MCU, the black suit wouldn't have come over, and there wouldn't have been part of Venom left. Spider-Man wouldn't have been on his own at the end of the film, getting his own apartment, having no Stark technology, and having his true Spider-Man origin story. And most importantly of all, he would have still had Aunt May. And the funniest part about all of this? It's not even a Marvel solo movie. It's technically a Sony film. They had to get a third-party company to come in and do it right. I say this knowing full well that Spider-Man No Way Home was the first multiversal movie in the MCU, but they really could have just used that as a building block moving forward, knowing what they have to do to make it right, to make it good. You know what? Screw it. I'm not even going to say that. If they really wanted a good idea on how to do a multiverse right, look at Into the Spider-Verse. That film came out 5 years ago. All they had to do was copy that beat for beat and they would have been set. But they didn't. Now look where they are. And you can't tell me that that film ends in the exact same place that it started, because it started off with one Spider-Man, ended with a different one. Yeah, I get it. That's kind of fine. But so much changed in that film. And I'm really hoping that both Marvel and DC take a hard look at what Sony's done with all three multiversal Spider-Man movies, Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, and No Way Home, and really get their act together. Because honestly, if they want to succeed, that's going to be the best option forward. What do you think about this? Do you think the multiverse is something that's really going to hinder the universes moving forward? Who do you think's doing the multiverse better, Marvel or DC? Comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe for more. And as always, have a great day and I'll catch you in the next one.
Lizard sighted in Queens. Closing in now.
The beast could be anywhere. You have no idea. Spider-Man! This whole lizard hunt ends now!
Wait a minute!
So what? I don't care! You're here right in front of me right now! And I have questions for you!
With basically all of Phase 4 of Marvel's releases being labeled complete and total disasters, and the absolute failure of The Flash, I have a strong feeling that fans are going to be over multiverse movies. But wait, what's this? Oh my god, they've done it. Yeah, honestly, I am pretty sure that Deadpool 3 is going to be the film that really turns a lot of people around on the idea of the multiverse. But why? Well, strap yourselves in, kiddos, because we're about to go on a deep dive of all of the potential leaks of Deadpool 3. And my god, they're great. Now, obviously, none of us really know what's going to be happening in the film, so take everything I say with a pinch of salt. But there have been multiple scoopsters going around, as well as the always ever faithful 4chan leaks. And a lot of the information seems to be matching up. Now, in case you missed it, a little while ago I did make a video about leaked descriptions of apparently Magneto coming in and being one of the main villains of the film. And it seems like that plot point still stands, but things have changed significantly. According to the leaks, instead of just Magneto being the main villain of the film, Scarlet Witch is coming back.
I have so many questions!
Yeah, and this is where it gets just absolutely nuts. So, according to the leaks, Scarlet Witch, from Multiverse of Madness, as she was dying, sends her soul through the multiverse again, back into the body that she inhabited when she took out the Illuminati. But apparently all of the events of that film helped shift the universe into creating an alternate version of the Fox X-Men universe, where Magneto was able to take over the Earth, House of M style. And in this story, apparently, we're going to see humans be the minority. But how does Deadpool fit into this? According to the leaks and rumors, Deadpool would be detained by the TVA for his shenanigans at the end of Deadpool 2. And if you don't remember that, he went back in time and saved Vanessa, then executed himself from X-Men Origins Wolverine, which, thank God. And he even stopped himself, the actor Ryan Reynolds, for signing up for Green Lantern. And because of all of this, the TVA is going to be detaining him and putting him on trial. Apparently, they've already returned Cable back to his timeline, and Domino's not going to be in the film. However, According to this information, we're going to see Deadpool be used almost as a pawn to help clean up the mess that Wanda had created in the alternate universe, due to his ties with the X-Men. In this, he's going to be basically working with a band of freedom fighters, which include basically all of the characters that he interacted with over the previous films, minus Domino and Weasel, TJ Miller's character. And obviously that was just because the actor TJ Miller thought that Ryan Reynolds didn't like him. And they've already squashed their beef on that, so that was just kind of a whoopsie doodle on both parties. But apparently what's going to happen in the movie is Wolverine is somehow going to get his hands on the time travel technology that was given to Deadpool by the TVA, and Deadpool and Wolverine will fight with each other, flying through different multiverses, showing us glimpses as to what could be and what has been. According to this information, I mean, we're going to be seeing alternate castings, we're going to be seeing characters that should have been in the films a long time ago, and we're even going to be revisiting Logan. I think if this is true, one of the craziest things we're going to be seeing is finally, after all of these years, we're finally going to see Channing Tatum as Gambit. And if you don't know, Channing Tatum was originally tapped to play Gambit all the way back in, oh my god, 2007. We're going on 16 years of this film being in development until it was officially canceled in 2020, and we have still yet to see Gambit played by Channing Tatum. But apparently, Deadpool 3 is going to right that mistake. I mean, hopefully they do a better job than The Flash did with Nicolas Cage, but we'll see.
What the hell is even that?
This film is supposed to have tons of insane action and basically be a callback and a love letter to all of the Fox Universe characters, both X-Men and allegedly Fantastic Four as well. I mean, fingers crossed we get to see Chris Evans come back as Human Torch. That would be insane. And I mean, honestly, if they're able to get any of the characters back from the Josh Trank disaster of a Fantastic Four movie, I'd be okay with that too, just to give them a proper send-off. But honestly, all of these leaks are insane. Plus, we're also apparently getting basically most of the original Singer X-Men films. All of these leaks are insane, and honestly, I am super excited. According to this information, we're getting the original actors for Cyclops, Storm, Jean Grey, so I don't know about you, but this has me absolutely excited. Editing Alex cutting in to say, since I originally recorded this video, even more cameos have leaked. So apparently we're going to be getting all of the ones that I've already covered in this video. We're getting Halle Berry coming back as Storm, James Marsden coming back as Cyclops, apparently we're getting Alan Cumming coming back as Nightcrawler, which is insane. The main villains of the film are apparently Magneto and Scarlet Witch, and now it's coming out that apparently the Illuminati is coming back in as well. And this is all coming from the 838 universe. However, as we saw in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, that Illuminati roster got wiped out, but apparently Professor X, Patrick Stewart, survived. So he's coming back, along with Magneto, as well as a whole roster of new Illuminati members. I mean, somebody has to fill those spots. It's now being rumored that Jennifer Garner's Elektra is coming back, and has apparently already filmed her scenes. Apparently, Matt Murdock, played by Ben Affleck, is coming in, so we're going to get Daredevil again, which is going to be very awkward considering that Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck used to be married.
Oh, bring it on, J-Ho! What?
And of course, we always have to have the same rumor going around with every single multiverse movie of an evil Tom Cruise Iron Man. And I'm sure between now and when this video posts, even more cameos are going to be rumored to come out. But honestly, I can't keep pushing this video back forever. So if you want to see more videos covering cameos that are rumored to come out for Deadpool 3, go ahead and leave a like on the video and comment down below. Anyways, let's hop back in.
Yeah, it's rewind time.
Okay, so this video's taken a little bit longer to make than I originally thought, and even more stuff's coming out. Now it's being reported that Lady Deadpool and Dogpool are going to be in the film. It's not actually going to be the 616 Wanda inhabiting 838's body. She's apparently just gonna go nuts and fucking snap. The yellow and blue costume that Wolverine's wearing in the shots that we've seen from the leaked footage is apparently belonging to a different Wolverine that died in the Void from Loki, which apparently this entire scene is taking place in, after the TVA pruned Wolverine and Deadpool, and apparently that Wolverine is the one from Logan who... I don't even know, man. There's so much going on with this movie. And at the same time, nothing's going on with this movie. Because as of recording this segment, now, for the third time, the Screen Actors Guild has gone on strike in solidarity with the Writers Guild. So sucks to be us, nerds. Hope you liked that footage while it lasted. God knows when it's coming back. Anyways, I don't even know what's going on anymore. Let's just hop back into this. And I'm pretty sure that it has the executives over at Disney Marvel excited as well, considering out of all of the future Marvel movies, this is the only one that got pushed forward. So, I don't know if it has something to do with the writer's strike, or possibly they were banking on the fact that the Screen Actors Guild was going to strike too in solidarity, and they just wanted to push something out, and this is the only thing that was mostly filmed. But I'm going to be a little more optimistic on this and say that they're really, really proud of what's being turned in. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's all fun to talk about and speculate anyway. Comment down below if you agree with any of this, leave a like on the video, and subscribe for more. Check out the links in the description of this video on ways to support the channel. Join the Patreon for early access to videos, as well as to get a shout out at the end of each video. Affiliate links are also in the description for Coffee Brand Coffee and Amazon. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, have a great day and I'll catch you in the next one. So there's been a lot of shakeups going with Marvel recently, ever since Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania came out. That film single-handedly destroyed the careers of Victoria Alonso, the credibility of Kevin Feige saying that this is going to be the next big film since Endgame, and, basically, Jonathan Major's career. Well, I mean, he's pretty much responsible for that himself with his extracurricular actions, but this certainly didn't help. And it gets crazier from there, because the writer of that film was tapped to pen not only Kang Dynasty, but I believe Secret Wars as well. If he's only going to be writing one of them, being Kang Dynasty, it really wouldn't make sense considering they're supposed to be two parts of the same film, more or less. I mean, they're coming out 1 year apart from each other, and originally they were supposed to come out in the same year. So it doesn't make sense to have them only do one and not the other, but I digress. Between all of this going on, the WGA writer's strike, the threat that the Screen Actors Guild and the Directors Guild will also be going on strike coming up shortly, and the fact that Marvel has had some incredibly subpar films come out in Phase 4 does not give me much hope about the future. Honestly, comic book movies have been such an integral part of my life as well as many others for years, and I hate to see the industry in this state. I would go out with my family every single year for a new Marvel movie release, and when the time came, I did the same with my wife. But now, every time a Marvel movie comes out, I just kind of get a feeling of dread and just a pit in my stomach where I just feel bad about whatever is about to happen. And it shouldn't be that way, and I hope it's not that way for others. But honestly, for a while, there's just been an incredible decline in the quality of not only the films, but the writing in them as well. And I am hopeful that this time off from the Writers Guild strike is going to give Marvel a chance to regroup and re-strategize moving forward, and make some insane course corrections that will actually put them back on track to delivering quality that we all truly need and deserve. I mean, they must have figured something out considering they're dropping all of Echo at once on Disney Plus and not doing a weekly release like they used to for shows. Or, you know, like what they're going to be doing with Daredevil with a weekly release. Because they know that people are going to want to see it and stick around for it. And honestly, Secret Invasion has me pretty hyped up as well, considering that show looks pretty great, and it's a different take on something we haven't seen done in Marvel movies so far. I mean, besides Captain Marvel with the shape-shifting Skrulls, but I mean, who really cares about that? And besides that, there's not much really coming out from Marvel that really has me hyped up. I'm hoping they're able to regroup after this writer's strike, and I'm hoping they're able to hit the ground running and really buckle down and figure out what they need to do to win back public appeal, and really make a massive course correction on everything they've been doing for the last couple of years. Basically, since 2019, things have been on a steady decline. I mean, minus of course films like No Way Home, which is just incredible, one of my favorite Marvel movies of all time. I don't care if it's non-stop nostalgia bait, it's great. But I guess only time will tell. Comment down below if you also think that Marvel movies have been on a pretty steady decline in the last couple of years. Don't forget to check out the links in the bio of this video for more ways to help this channel. And if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Victor Von Doom has been a staple of the Marvel comic book universe for decades, going all the way back to his first appearance in 1962. But he is a much deeper character and is much more than being just another masked villain. For example, this man challenges the devil, the literal devil, to a fistfight every year to try to save his mother's soul.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
He is that guy. In this video, we're going to go over the history, power set, and little known facts about one of Marvel Comics' best villains, as well as discuss his multiple cinematic portrayals and where they went wrong, as well as discuss what Kevin Feige really needs to nail about the character to knock it out of the park with his MCU debut, as well as discuss how Doctor Doom has significance to Secret Wars. Now hit that like button and let's get into this. Victor Von Doom originally made his debut in Fantastic Four issue number 5 in 1962. Victor Von Doom, who eventually went on to become Doctor Doom, is best known for his ties with the Fantastic Four, being arguably one of their most popular villains. But what most people don't know is that he really operates in more shades of gray than other villains. Unlike many other villains, Doctor Doom is actually the leader of a country, Latveria. Doctor Doom actually went to college with Reed Richards, which did contribute to their rivalry. But Doctor Doom has more than just sheer intelligence on his side. Victor Von Doom comes from a family of magic users, his mother being a witch and father being a healer. But they were both killed when Doom was very young, tragically sending him down a path to become the man that he is today, seeking as much power as possible. Victor Von Doom does not only use the magic which he had learned from his mother, but also his extreme intellect and expertise with technology. In the comics, Doctor Doom creates what is known as Doombots to do most of his dirty work. A majority of time in the comics, when people think that they've actually defeated Doctor Doom, it turns out it was just a robot in his place. Doom even goes so far as to replicating his armor for each Doombot, giving them the same power set that he has and pre-programming them with an AI that is just a copy of his own consciousness, making them almost indistinguishable from the real Doctor Doom. But his technological abilities and intellect go far beyond making replicants. He created the suit that he wears, which he's tinkered with over the years to perfect. Also, the mask that he wears as part of the suit has different significance depending on the story. It's mostly used to cover a disfigurement, and in some storylines, it's permanently fused with his skin. The actual disfigurement of his face has varied from comic to comic. In some renditions, his face is basically melted, and in some, he literally just has a beauty mark. His suit enhances his physical abilities and amplifies his magical powers. And it basically works as a battery, siphoning off the powers of those who he fights, amplifying his own. I mean, it's also computer-assisted and powered by nuclear energy, and it was forged using magic. Damn, Tony Stark, you need to step up your game. Speaking of Tony Stark, he really does need to step up his game, considering, after the events of Civil War II, Doctor Doom took over the mantle of Iron Man, becoming what's known as the Invincible Iron Man. And to top it all off, Doctor Doom has some other incredible achievements, like creating a freaking time machine, going to fight the devil on a yearly basis to try to resurrect his mother, and creating a device known as the Quantum Gate, which could basically give him godlike power, making him one of the strongest characters in the universe. Doctor Doom has still gone on to do incredible things in both renditions of Secret Wars, the 1984 version and Jonathan Hickman's 2015 version. Like in the 84 version of Secret Wars, when he basically gains the power of God and does some insane stuff, like ordering Ultron to kill Kang the Conqueror, which is something that we absolutely need to see in the MCU, since Doom holds much more significance to Secret Wars than Kang the Conqueror does, but I've already made a video about that, which I will link to now. And then rebuilding him atom by atom later, just to send a message. Good lord, man, you don't need to flex that hard, you might hurt yourself. Now, let's touch on the significance of Doctor Doom in both renditions of Secret Wars, the 1984 version and Jonathan Hickman's 2015 version. Now, this isn't going to be a complete play-by-play on everything that happens in both of the storylines. Let's be completely honest here.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Now instead, I'm going to link to a couple of videos from Comics Explained down in the description of this video, because honestly, he's gone into so much detail over there on that channel that he will answer any questions that you have. I mean, seriously, his deep dives into Secret Wars 1, 2, and 2015 are insane. First one was 2 hours, Secret Wars 2 is an hour long, and 2015 Hickman run, 9 hours long. But honestly, he does really good work, so I'm going to link that down below, and if you want to give that a watch, go ahead. But make sure you click on those links after you finish this video. In the original Secret Wars, characters from across the Marvel Universe were pulled together to fight each other, both villains and heroes. Kang the Conqueror tried to make a power move by taking out Doctor Doom early in the fight, but that came back to haunt him, because once they regrouped and ran into Doctor Doom again, he ordered Ultron to destroy Kang right then and there on the spot. Which is honestly kind of comical considering Ultron took him out with minimal effort. And Kang is the character they've been building up over the last couple of years and are continuing to build up towards Secret Wars, and the fact that the main villain from Avengers 2 was able to one-shot him is hilarious. After that, Doctor Doom ends up getting the power of the Beyonder, which is basically godlike powers, and ends up running the show. This is similar to what happens in the 2015 Jonathan Hickman version of Secret Wars, but in that version, Doom is exponentially more powerful. Now donning a white cloak, now he's even called God Emperor Doom. And that crap right there is his insane ego on full display. In this version of Secret Wars, Dr. Doom is so powerful that this man is able to punch straight through Thanos, ripping his spine and skull out, dusting him in the process. That crap is straight out of Mortal Kombat.
Flawless victory.
I think that between the original Secret Wars from 1984 and the 2015 Jonathan Hickman run, the MCU is going to be leaning towards borrowing more from the latter. And honestly, I think it's going to come down to recency bias, since that one is fresher in people's minds. I think that they're going to want to capitalize on that as much as possible and draw more inspiration from that, especially since the 2015 version is so multiverse heavy. But unfortunately, because they have not included Dr. Doom in the MCU, I don't think it's going to hit the same way as they were wanting it to with Jonathan Majors Kang in Dr. Doom's place. Dr. Doom has also appeared in multiple live-action representations of the Fantastic Four films. Starting off in 1994, honestly that film is an abomination that I would love to see released in theaters. It's quite possibly one of the most infamous superhero films ever made. There's not much really to say about the film. I'll throw some photos and clips up now, and you tell me in the comments what you think, but to me it just really comes off as a crappy ripoff of the Power Rangers. Moving forward to the first big budget version of the Fantastic Four, I remember this film being pretty good when it came out, but honestly I haven't seen it in more than 15 years, so I really couldn't tell you one way or another. But going back to watch clips of this film, as well as its sequel, 2007's Rise of the Silver Surfer, they absolutely butchered Dr. Doom. And honestly, I don't want to spend any more time talking about that portrayal because it was just a slap in the face to comic book fans. And now, Josh Trank's Fan 4 Stick. Yep, that's the name. Quite possibly one of the weirdest comic book films I've seen in years. I have absolutely no problem with them changing the race of characters, like with Johnny Storm, with Michael B. Jordan being cast in the role, or even having Sue Storm being adopted from a war-torn country. What I do have a problem with is the fact that they made Victor Von Doom a weird computer hacker and basically is an internet troll in real life. And if you remember the original leaks of that film, his name wasn't even supposed to be Victor Von Doom. It was supposed to be Victor Domashev. Yeah, Victor Domashev. Basically, it got changed because there was so much internet outrage, and you can tell it was internet outrage that caused this change, because when you watch the film, you can see that the only time they actually refer to him as Victor Von Doom, and not just Victor, is when they slide him a piece of paper that says Victor Von Doom on it, and the line is ADR'd in. You never actually see anybody say his name. And then the way that Sue Storm calls him Victor Von Doom, almost ironically, is so dumb.
People running the earth are the same ones running it into the ground, so maybe it deserves what it's got coming to it.
Dr. Doom over here.
This will age well.
I mean, yeah, he gets brought back from the negative zone, and that's pretty cool, and he awakens with his powers. Yeah, and instead his suit is like an exoskeleton that's permanently fused to him, and that's pretty cool. And he pops the heads off all the scientists and soldiers, and that's cool. But I mean, that just lasts for a second, and the movie all around is still a flaming hot pile of garbage. Directed by a guy who reportedly lost his mind, crashed cars into pools, and caused tens of thousands of dollars in property damage at a house that he was staying in while filming, and reportedly was drunk on set a lot. I mean, I don't even think I have to say this, but I will. All Marvel has to do is look at what was done in the past and do the exact opposite. Seriously, all Marvel has to do is just follow the proven track record on what's been done over the last 60 years, hitting the character's origin story beat for beat, copying a couple popular storylines. That's it. That's what the fans want, and hopefully that's what the fans will get. Because at the end of the day, if they want to make money and want to please people, who in turn will give them more money, just follow the track record. It's already there. Comic book films should be one of the easiest films to make. Storyline-wise, that is. Because they're drawing on decades, and I mean almost a century worth of stories that have all been tested and have a proven track record with how popular they are. And they don't even have to go by word of mouth on popularity. They could literally look at sales and know how the stories were doing. They have actual physical metrics for this. It makes no sense to make massive changes to appeal to somebody else's artistic vision when they're wanting to make money and capitalize as much as possible. But then again, I'm just a YouTuber who started his channel last year, but I think I could speak for most of us when that's what we really want. We just want a comic-accurate version of the character. They don't need to spend tons of time on his backstory, just touch on it enough to give people an idea, draw inferences from the comics, and we'll be happy. And at the end of the day, that's what the movie should be, just trying to make people happy, not divide people like Marvel has recently, or the Star Wars films. Obviously, I can't fit all of Dr. Doom's backstory into this video, since he's been around for 61 years. But I do hope that this video helped give you a little more background and knowledge on the character, and what makes him who he is. An incredibly integral character to the fabric of the Marvel Universe. And one of the most popular villains that's been around in all of comics. And especially somebody that the MCU needs to incorporate as quickly as possible. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe for more. If you do want to see more from me, you can click right here to see a video that I made talking about why Dr. Doom is really a good fit instead of Kang, and how they can bring him in for Avengers Secret Wars. Or you can click right here and see how one man's greed and lust for power single-handedly destroyed the Snyderverse, giving way for James Gunn to take over. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you have a great day, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one.
Avengers!
Assemble.
Batman, Spider-Man, Deadpool. These are some of the most recognizable characters from comics that have recently shown up on the silver screen in the last decade. Marvel and DC each have their fair share of iconic characters, but they also each have their set of black sheep that they would just hope you forget about. In this video, I'm going to discuss 5 characters that we will never see in live action. Some for good reason, and some because there's no way the studios can get away with it these days. Let's get started. The one above all. This character from Marvel originally got their start in 1976, and is Marvel's representation of God. I'm not talking about gods like Thor, the god of thunder, or even Zeus. I am talking about capital G God. In the past, the one above all has been shown to take many different forms, ranging from Captain America co-creator, and basically the rest of the Marvel Universe, Jack the King Kirby, to Iggy Pop, I guess? The problem Marvel would have with trying to bring the one above all to the silver screen would be the fact that the company would be acknowledging that in their universe of radioactive spider teens, mutated beast men, blonde aliens, and massive creatures that hatched from planets, there still is one true God. With the state the House of Mouse has been in recently, I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe if Walt was still here. What a legend. The other problem they would run into is who would play such a titanic character. If they introduced the one above all a few years ago, the obvious choice would be Stan Lee, considering he created about 99% of what the MCU is today. But since he's no longer with us, I don't think there's anyone who could play him. Unless they found a way to deepfake him into the role, but I think they're still a few years off from doing that, and it would be very poor taste. With no one to fill the role and Disney not wanting to upset theatergoers, I don't think we're going to see the one above all anytime soon. Speaking of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, although they were an incredibly prolific creative team, they didn't always see eye to eye on things. Eventually, after years of working together, Jack Kirby ended up leaving Marvel and hopping over to DC. Well, that sounds familiar. From now on, I'm going to say James Gunn pulled a Kirby. And you're going to leave a like on this video. Kirby went on to DC and created many characters that are still held in high regard today. Characters such as Etrigan the Demon, the New Gods, and Darkseid. Kirby, however, did create a character that you may not have heard of, that being Funky Flashman. In 1972, Kirby was still very bitter about how his relationship with Stan Lee and Marvel was falling apart. So, to poke fun at the situation, he made Funky Flashman as a satire of Stan Lee. And it's not even like he was trying to hide the fact that it was Stan. I mean, look at the two of them side by side. You tell me if there's anyone else it could be. He was basically a shady businessman and somehow ended up becoming one of the founding members of the Secret Society of Supervillains, which, let's talk about for a second. There is no way that could play out believably nowadays. Could you imagine? The year's 2028. James Gunn announces that they're going to be the villains of the JLA movie. You sit down in the theater, get comfortable, and as the film starts and you go to see the villains, you see almost what looks like the Legion of Doom. You see Lex Luthor. Okay, that's pretty good. Gorilla Grodd. Alright, we got some big Harambe energy going on. Darkseid. Yep, okay, I'm sold. Best supervillain team up of all time. Then you hear footsteps. They all look up, smirks on their faces. As the camera pans, you see a figure emerge from the shadows. And it's this goofy looking fool. Seriously, he was one of the founding members of that team. And why Darkseid led a supervillain boy band based in San Francisco when he could have just boom-tubed them all up to Apocalypse makes absolutely no sense to me. But hey, the 70s were a wild time.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
Funky Flashman just can't be in the future of the DCU. Especially with all the goodwill that Stan Lee has in the public's eye. Plus, it would be an incredibly poor taste to parody somebody who's no longer with us. Especially with him being such a titan of the industry. Next, we have Dog Welder.
Emotional damage!
Marvel has some characters that are incredibly popular, but personally, I don't think need to be in films. This one is going to trigger some people, but it has to be said. Squirrel Girl does not deserve a show or movie.
Move this man!
I might be in the minority here, but I don't want to see a movie about a furry who somehow single-handedly took down Thanos. You know, the most powerful villain that the Avengers have faced so far. The most shocking fact about Squirrel Girl is somehow she was created by Steve Ditko. You know, the guy who also created some other characters you might recognize. Such as... and Doctor Strange. Yeah, I don't know how this happened either. He also created a character for DC known as The Question, who I have talked about multiple times in different videos, one of which I will link right here. So please, give this one a view after you finish this video, because it'll give you a lot more context about how that character can show up in the DCU's future. Squirrel Girl obviously has her fans, since basically 40% of girls at Comic-Con dress up as her, and the other 60 dress up as the worst version of Harley Quinn I've ever seen in my life. But does this mean that it will translate to a positive box office? Personally, I don't think so. And I don't think that that's a risk that Marvel is willing to take at this moment. There is no fifth slot.
I lied.
Instead, here's a list of all the characters from DC that they need to just leave in the past and not bring into the modern day. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please leave a like on the video and feel free to subscribe for more content. Comment down below with any characters that you think should have been on this list. Or, if you disagree with me, comment down below as well. If you want to see more from me, click here to see a video about how I discuss the future plans of the DCU. Or, you can click right here and see a video where I discuss the future plans for MCU Phase 5. As always, thank you so much for watching and I hope you have a great day. I'll catch you in the next one. With Avengers Secret Wars coming soon, many of us have been asking the same question. That being, where the heck is Venom, and is Spider-Man gonna get the black costume like he did in the comics? And in this video, we're going to discuss just those points, as well as speculate who the heck is going to be the Spider-Man in the Venom universe in the long run, if there's going to be a crossover with any of these characters, and how this all impacts Avengers Secret Wars. So slap a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into it. The biggest question that most of us have been having is how the heck are we going to get Tom Hardy's Venom into the MCU again? I say again because at the end of Venom 2, we do see Tom Hardy's Venom get pulled through the multiverse into the 616 universe. Or I should say, Earth 1999, who cares? For the simplicity's sake, I'm just going to refer to it as 616 moving forward in this video. And if you have a problem with that, fight me in the comments. I do not care. And if they do bring Venom into the MCU, are they going to stick with the traditional version of Secret Wars, where Spider-Man gets the black suit? Or are they going to adapt a newer version, possibly 2015 Secret Wars by Jonathan Hickman? Or are they just going to do Secret Wars 2? I don't see why, but I mean, Marvel's been doing weird shenanigans recently, so I wouldn't put it past them. Anyway, enough about that. Let's just keep talking about Venom in the black suit. Some people might not like Venom in Tom Hardy's representation of the character. Personally, I really like it. I do think that Venom 2 wasn't as good as Venom 1. However, the villain was obviously much better. Woody Harrelson's Carnage compared to... who again? I don't even remember. That's how little of an impact it left. I want to say Riot? I'll just slap a picture up right here. It's just another gray CGI monster, so you tell me. Anyways, since Venom was pulled into the Marvel Universe, 616 for simplicity's sake, at the end of Venom 2, there's been a lot of questions on when he's going to meet Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Unfortunately, as we saw in the post-credit scene of the next film, Spider-Man No Way Home, he got pulled back. However, a little tiny bit was left in South America, with the sole directive of going to New York and tracking down Peter Parker's Spider-Man. Now, I don't think that specific version of Venom is going to become the black suit. I mean, it might, but who knows? That's the only connection to Spider-Man it has, just hearing about him during the events of the film. However, they did say in Venom 2 that the symbiotes do share a hive mind. So, personally, I think we're going to see Tom Hardy's Venom tap into the knowledge and expertise of a different Venom, hopefully Topher Grace, but fingers crossed, and draw upon that hatred of Spider-Man once he sees the character in real life. And who knows, possibly that symbiote might have knowledge of another symbiote that bonded with Spider-Man, even in the comic books. Who knows? We don't know how connected these universes are going to be in the long run, and might try leaving Eddie Brock to join with Peter Parker. I mean, if they really want to wow people, they would either have it bond with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man again, or give Andrew Garfield a bone. And speaking of Andrew Garfield, who's the Spider-Man in the Venom universe? Because as we know, Venom and Morbius share the same universe, with most of the references, especially with that really amazing joke of Jared Leto's Morbius hunting down a villain, and when he asks who he is, we get this gem of a line.
I am Venom. I have so many questions!
So yeah, obviously Morbius and Venom, same universe. There's no real hint of a Spider-Man yet. However, I think there might be one. Especially if they are going to be crossing over the Madam Web movie, which, spoilers if you're not aware, there's a Madam Web movie, and apparently there's a version of Spider-Man in it. They haven't said who, they haven't said who's playing him, there's just been a lot of set photos. And it doesn't look like a traditional version. It almost kind of looks like Spider-Man 2099, which is just weird, and I don't know how they're going to bring that in, especially because I don't think that Spider-Man is going to be the Spider-Man of the entire Sonyverse, but I guess we'll see. And of course we have Kraven the Hunter, which some footage of it has been shown at CinemaCon. Not much has been made public, in fact, none of it has. And from what that film turns out, it looks like he's going to be fighting the Rhino, which, pretty cool team up, I guess. But no inkling of a Spider-Man in that film either. So it's almost like they're building up to a Sinister Six with no Spider-Man. The only way that would actually make sense to me is if they end up taking those villains, putting them in the MCU through Secret Wars. Why else do it? Why build to it with just the villains at the center? Doesn't make sense. So, if we end up bringing all of them in MCU Secret Wars, bridging the multiverse, collapsing and having multiple incursions at once, we'll be able to see them interact with maybe not just one, maybe 3 Spider-Man, maybe more. Maybe they'll bring in the Miles Morales from the Across the Spider-Verse films. And at that point, we could finally see Tom Holland's Spider-Man get the black suit. How he uses the black suit, though, is up for discussion. However, despite me not thinking there's going to be a huge presence of Venom in Secret Wars, I do think that if he does get the black suit, Peter Parker is going to kick some serious ass. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have multiple different versions of either Kang or other supervillains from across the multiverse, and Black Suit Spider-Man goes feral, just ripping them to shreds, almost tapping into the same kind of power and energy that he displayed at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, when he went basically feral and almost killed Green Goblin. That is the kind of rage I want to see on screen with the black suit, fully utilizing the powers of the symbiote. Because personally, I don't think that they're going to bring in the black suit as a symbiote moving forward after Secret Wars, because that would just make him overpowered again. The biggest complaint that everyone had with Tom Holland's Spider-Man in the MCU so far was the fact that he was basically Iron Man Jr. So having him come back as a more powered version of himself with an alien symbiote just wouldn't make sense, especially if he's just going to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man again. So to me personally, I don't think that's going to happen. If anything, I think we're going to see what we had in the comic book run, which, after he had the symbiote, he made a new costume, which was just black, to model off of that look because he liked it. And that I'd actually be completely okay with. But what do you think? Do you think we're going to see the black suit in Secret Wars? Do you think Venom's going to stay in the MCU after the fact? Or do you think we're going to get a new version of the character? Comment down below and let me know. And also let me know who you think is the actual Spider-Man in the Venom universe. If you enjoyed the content, please check out the description for ways to support the channel. Have a great day, and as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Since the post-credit scene of Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, and the post-credit scene of Spider-Man No Way Home, there's been a lot of questions about when Tom Hardy's Venom is going to be showing up properly in the MCU. Now, myself personally, I think it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to have Tom Hardy's Venom show up in Avengers Secret Wars. Obviously, we're going to have much of the Fantastic Four, if not all of them, including variants from the other Fox universe, the X-Men, Deadpool, Wolverine, as well as whoever else knows show up in Secret Wars, so why not bring in some of the Marvel characters from the Sony universe? If they're allowing them, that is. Now, I think there's a few different scenarios we could be seeing Venom show up in the future, and I'm going to discuss those in this video. But before we move forward, 99% of my viewers are not subscribed, so if you've stumbled upon this video or any of my shorts, feel free to give this channel a subscribe, and feel free to like the video. Now let's get on to the video. Now, like I said earlier, I do think that Venom is going to be showing up in Secret Wars. However, there are a couple of different ways that can happen. Option number one, they end up bridging the multiverses again, like they did with No Way Home, and you get traditional Tom Hardy Venom coming in. I don't really think that Topher Grace is going to be coming back as Venom, but I mean, anything's possible, I guess. And another option we could be seeing would be the new Venom that was left behind in Spider-Man No Way Home, after Tom Hardy's Venom was sent back to his original universe. Now, that's possible considering the parting knowledge that Venom was left with was find Spider-Man in New York, but honestly, making that little bit of Venom go all the way from South America to New York just to get Spider-Man, I mean, I guess it's possible, but at that point, if they're doing Secret Wars, how is it going to end up on Battleworld? Unless, because it's part of the Venom symbiote from the Sony universe, and that Venom gets transferred, this one would also get transferred. But that's a bit of a stretch, especially considering we don't know if Sony's going to play ball and let their characters be used. And even then, let's be completely honest here, the only characters that would be showing up so far in Secret Wars at that point, if they are allowing them to be used, would be Venom, possibly Madam Web, maybe animal rights activist Kraven the Hunter, and apparently the MCU's version of Vulture, which that in itself makes absolutely no sense as to how he would end up in the Morbius universe. And let's be completely honest here, out of all of them, the only one that would make the most sense, and the only one that would actually stand a chance to fight any villain, including Kang, on Battleworld, would be Morbius. Now, having Venom show up in Secret Wars would also give us the chance, if Sony is willing to play ball, to see other characters be Venomized. This has been a big trend recently, especially in items such as Funko Pops and comics. We have seen different characters who normally wouldn't become Venomized have insane alterations. And if they wanted to play ball, we may be able to see something like that show up in Secret Wars. It's pretty doubtful, but it would be pretty awesome to see. I mean, could you imagine a Venomized Doctor Strange in Secret Wars? Or a Venomized Captain America? That would be awesome. It would add a lot to the special effects budget, and probably a lot more time, especially if they're going to have to negotiate the usage of Venom and the Sony characters, but for the fans it would be worth it, but it's all going to come down to the studio's bottom line. And considering Marvel would still have 100% of the merchandising rights of the characters, who knows if Sony's really going to let them do that. Now, another option that's been floated around recently is having that piece of Venom become Agent Venom. But, to me, between the Joe Manganiello Flash that we saw in the original Tobey Maguire universe and the modern iteration of Flash Thompson, I cannot see any other option between using a previous version of Flash as Agent Venom. I mean, look at the two of them. There's such a vast difference in body type. Could you imagine the modern day nerdy version of Flash becoming Agent Venom? Because I certainly can't. The other option is if they're able to somehow bring in an Eddie Brock from a different universe, and they could possibly make him Anti-Venom. I mean, that's something they'd be able to do, considering they already have Matt Gargan in the universe. So, Scorpion could get Venomized, I suppose, and they could try to get him back to Eddie, which, in a weird, twisted version, might be able to make Anti-Venom show up in Secret Wars, but honestly, who knows? Honestly, one of the best things they could do, which would be very, very out there, and honestly, I don't think it would be possible, would be if they're able to somehow grab the Carnage symbiote from Venom 2, bring that into Avengers Secret Wars, have Kang the Conqueror build a multiversal evil Avengers, a dark Avengers, and then have them go up against the current Avengers or a multiversal Avengers in Secret Wars. If they're able to do that, not only would they be able to have Kang the Conqueror be the main villain of Secret Wars, They would also be able to bring in Norman Osborn Green Goblin again. They'd be able to bring in Doctor Doom, as well as any other villains they could think of, including Thanos. And if they are able to do this, and they're able to bring in characters from the Sony universes, we could actually get the Red Goblin on screen. Now, the Red Goblin being Norman Osborn possessed by Carnage, I mean, it's a little out there. It's definitely a long shot, but honestly, it's one of the most visually striking characters that we've seen in quite a while. And could you imagine having Carnage infused with the Green Goblin going up against a multiversal Spider-Man army? That would be nuts. I would love to see that, and I would pay as much money as possible to see that on screen, especially if they team up with Doctor Doom and Kang the Conqueror. That would be insane. But at the end of the day, this is all just speculation and theories. These are just ideas that they could move forward with if they do decide to get the Sony characters in Avengers Secret Wars. I do know there was a bit of a falling out between Marvel and Sony, and it seems like they may have rectified this. But only time will tell. What do you think of my ideas? Do you think any of this is plausible? Comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to like the video for more content, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I've been really going back and forth thinking on if I should address this at all or just let it go. And honestly, I've hit the point mentally where I have to say something for my own sanity. Marvel needs to stop with the trajectory they've been going with injecting politics into their shows and movies. A lot of people out there don't have the best lives. They've been going through a lot of stuff, especially recently in the last couple of years, due to everything that everybody already knows about. So here's the thing. Movies were designed to be escapism. Movies were designed for us to be able to go into, pay a couple bucks here and there, sit down for about an hour or two, and just tune out to the rest of the world, not have to think about our own problems. Marvel has decided to overstep that and inject whatever politics they want to into whatever we're watching. It started off in Falcon and Winter Soldier, didn't have that much of a problem with it, it was fine. And spoilers for Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, but at this point nobody's gonna go see that movie anymore, so it really doesn't matter. The shot that we see in the trailer of Cassie Lang coming out of a jail cell was because of a peaceful protest. Yeah, okay, we'll see about that. It's not like we've heard that charged term for the last couple of years. And I understand that they're wanting to reflect the real world, but do they really need to have activism now in the MCU like that? They're superheroes. Come on. And the really big one, the fact that Hank Pym, scientist and former employee of S.H.I.E.L.D., is out there telling people that we need to learn from the socialist ants. Really? That's where you want to go? I just think it's kind of funny that you have a character who basically worked for the equivalent of the Homeland Security in 1970 when Richard Nixon was still president, now talking about the glory of socialism and how we can learn something from ants. Literal ants. Once again, this is supposed to be escapism. We don't need to go to the theater and get preached at on why one type of governance is better than another. And yes, we did have some political aspects in Winter Soldier, as well as Civil War. But they didn't beat you over the head with it. In Civil War, you had two rival factions between Captain America's team and Iron Man's team sitting down and discussing what would be best for the people. Discussing if they really should just fall in line with what their government was telling them to do. That's one thing. On the other hand, you have this.
I mean, I know socialism is a charged word, but we can learn a lot from these.
But maybe I'm just being a little too sensitive about the situation. Maybe it's not too big of a deal to see our entertainment become so politically charged. But to me it is. Because with everything becoming so political nowadays, the movies should be the last place to become involved. These are literally people who just play pretend for a living and memorize words that somebody else wrote. And no hate to Michael Douglas or the other actors in the film. They're just reading the words off of a piece of paper that the writer of Rick and Morty put down. But it's really strange to see that basically all of these films and all of these TV series are basically pushing the same message, and I'm kind of getting sick of it. Just let movies be fun. Just let TV be fun. Let people live their lives. Don't try to push an agenda down anybody's throat one way or another. It doesn't matter. Just let people relax and enjoy themselves. And keep ideology out of it, please. And I'm not saying that it's necessarily correlated, but look at the box office opening for Ant-Man 3, as well as the last couple of Marvel movies, honestly. Thor: Love and Thunder, Eternals, and more. And tell me that they're going in the right direction. But what do you think? Do you think comic book movies and TV shows are becoming too politically charged? Do you think it's a bad thing? Do you think it's a good thing? Comment down below and let me know. And don't forget to subscribe. After the bright, brilliant, shining star that was MCU's Phase 4, I'm sure all of you, just like myself, are completely done with Marvel.
You almost tasted that. Num 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 num, eat it up. Go play okay, 3, 2, 1.
What the hell is even that?
Let's be completely honest here. Anybody who's in the comments of this video who are trying to defend all of the projects of Phase 4 as if they were as good or better than Phase 1, 2, or even 3 is absolutely insane. And I am not talking about the diversity in storytelling. That's fine. Who cares? More power to them. What I'm specifically referring to is the diminishing quality of the stories they're actually telling, the visual effects in those stories, and the fact that it's completely lazy, as well as everything that's been going on with the actors. I'm not just talking about Jonathan Majors. In fact, let's start with that. Now, if you don't know, recently Secret Invasion has started airing on Disney+, which is an entire different can of worms, which I'll get into later. Disney+, that is. Not Secret Invasion. I'm not interested. While promoting Secret Invasion, Samuel L. Jackson was asked about his involvement with the film coming up, The Marvels, which, if you don't know, The Marvels is going to be a sequel to the greatest comic book film ever made. And when he was asked about his involvement with The Marvels, he opined on his relationship with Brie Larson, stating that she lost her mind when Donald Trump was elected president, and that they bonded over that, and had to rebuild better and stronger. First of all, the hell does that have to do with anything? Second of all, that was years ago. And finally, you were asked how your relationship with another actor is in this movie, yet you opine on some American politics that happened 7 years ago. Jesus Christ, people. Move on. I honestly don't understand how Sam Jackson thought that that was going to be an appropriate response and have people not get upset. And I'm not just talking about people who go there just hating on Brie Larson for no reason. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's tons of reasons. But here's the thing, all that's going to do is divide your fan base. I mean, realistically, you're going to have people from both sides of the political aisle watching your show, so why alienate half of the audience? I mean, really, you think somebody who voted for Donald Trump in 2016 or 2020 is going to be like, that makes me really want to watch Secret Invasion now? You know, really? None of it makes any sense to me. I really don't understand the fascination with Marvel actors almost explicitly wanting to go after and attack fans that they don't line up with ideologically. I mean, America is supposed to be a melting pot of all different people from different backgrounds with different thought processes and different belief structures being able to cohabitate and get along. Yet it's crap like that that really drives a wedge between people. I just miss the old days where actors would just show up and say their lines, and not try to inject their own dumbass politics into whatever they're trying to sell. Their job's not to influence people with political ideology. Their job is to show up, possibly be in a costume, and say the lines that someone else wrote. That's it. Beyond that, I don't give a crap what you think or what you believe in. You do you. Be on your own. I mean, imagine if somebody else in a different job did exactly what they're doing now. I mean, imagine this. Imagine you're hiring somebody for a job. Let's say you need to get a roof replaced. The roofers come over, they start doing their job, and then halfway through, they start going off about the evils of capitalism and why socialism and communism really are the best ways to move forward in the country. Okay, cool, fine. Yeah, whatever, who cares? You can have that opinion. But if I'm paying you to do a job, shut the hell up and do your job. This goes for actors on all spectrums of the political aisle. I don't care what your personal politics or beliefs are. You leave those at the door. Doesn't matter if I agree with you or not, because your only job as an actor is to entertain. And whether I agree with you or not, you need to leave your personal politics at the door. Because no one today wants to go into a theater and feel alienated. So really, regardless on what side you fall, actors just need to go back to their original craft of entertaining and not trying to divide their fan base. And you know what? Who cares? Fine. People can say whatever they want to. It doesn't really matter in the end of the day. But the problem is, when you get up there and you get on your soapbox and try to say that one thing is dividing the nation while you're the actual person setting that division, it's kind of hypocritical. Then you get crap like with She-Hulk. And I'm not talking about a women empowerment thing. That's fine. The problem is, they're turning the character into a stereotype. I mean, think about it. You've had strong female characters in science fiction for decades. Basically, look at every single role that Sigourney Weaver's ever played. And before that, you had Princess Leia in Star Wars. She may have been a damsel in distress, but guess what? When they were under attack in the Death Star trying to escape, it was her idea to grab Luke's gun and shoot a hole to the trash compactor. In that instance, a female character was actually the one who took charge and made sure that everyone else was safe. There are dozens of other examples, but really it has nothing to do with whether a character is a man or woman. In these stories, it has everything to do with are they a good and likable character. You can have a character who's a guy who's a complete a-hole who nobody wants to be around and audiences hate. And you can have a character that's a complete a-hole who's a female who no one wants to be around and the audience hates. It's almost like these studios are kind of losing sight of what really matters and only operating on political lines. And honestly, this all started happening after Endgame. Phase 1, 2, and 3 were amazing. They all built up towards Iron Man's sacrifice, the original character that started their entire universe. So far with Phase 4 and 5, we haven't really gotten anything of substance. And that's why, honestly, I'm going to be sitting out a few of these films. And pretty much all of the shows. And I'm not saying anything like MCU or any bullcrap like that, because, I mean, who cares? As long as the character's well written, it doesn't matter if it's a male or female. The only thing that matters is that they tell a good story, which, realistically, really? Have they? In quite a while? The only thing I'm really looking forward to right now is Deadpool 3 coming out, but besides that, I could take or leave basically every single Marvel project they have coming up. I have absolutely no interest in Kang Dynasty. I have absolutely zero interest in Fantastic Four at this point, considering they announced it years ago, and we are still at square one. None of the Disney Plus shows look good to me at all, and honestly, I feel like Disney Plus has been a bigger detriment to the Marvel Universe as a whole than Kathy Kennedy has been for Lucasfilm. And that's saying something, because Jesus Christ, she's running that thing into a f***ing iceberg.
Watch your profanity.
Ever since Disney Plus came out, all Marvel wanted to do was pump out as much content as possible. They gave up on quality, and that's pretty evident. I mean, look at all of their shows. None of them hold a candle to Phase 1's CGI. They figured they would throw as many darts at the board as possible and see what stuck. And not much has. Obviously, these are all my personal beliefs and they may differ from yours, and that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's what I was saying at the beginning of the video with what Samuel L. Jackson said about the whole Donald Trump election bullcrap. Because one person shouldn't have that much influence over how you operate on a day-to-day basis. Just because one thing happened like that doesn't even directly impact you, shouldn't make you have to completely rebuild your mental abilities. It's just sad. What do you think about this? Do you think Marvel can turn it around? Comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe for more. I'll catch you in the next one. Secret Wars is going to be the end of the MCU as we know it. Avengers Secret Wars is one of the most anticipated films in MCU history, and that's definitely not a surprise. The name Secret Wars has a rich history in Marvel going all the way back to the 80s, in which multiple characters from across the Marvel Universe are put onto a planet Battle World, where they have to, as the name states, battle it out. Now, there was a Secret Wars back in the 80s, but there was also a new Secret Wars that came out in the last decade. That version of Secret Wars saw Dr. Doom pull the strings. Now, it's been reported that Dr. Doom won't have a huge role, if any, in this Secret Wars, and that it will indeed still be Kang the Conqueror as the main villain. And I'm still looking forward to it, but to me, the most anticipated part of Secret Wars is definitely going to be the cameos. Not only are we going to see the main MCU cast that we've already been accustomed to, but it'll also give them the chance to bring back fan favorites like Tony Stark Iron Man with Robert Downey Jr., Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and both the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. They can also bring back past X-Men actors from not only the original series, but also the first-class actors as well. Personally, I won't be satisfied unless we see Captain America Chris Evans interact with Johnny Storm Chris Evans, but only time will tell. I also do think that with all the multiverses colliding in this film, it'll give them a chance to tie up the multiverse saga with a neat bow, and reboot the universe overall back to a status quo. What do you think about this? Comment down below and let me know. And if you're one of the 99% of people watching this video who hasn't subscribed, please reconsider and hit that subscribe button. Possible spoilers for Avengers Secret Wars. According to information circulating online, looks like Kevin Feige is wanting to have one representative or more from each Marvel team that is popular showing up in Avengers Secret Wars. This would include not only the mutants and the X-Men, but the Fantastic Four as well as past members of the Avengers. This should include previous actors, as well as different variants with alternate castings for our popular characters. It is also being reported that the true villain of the film will indeed still be Kang the Conqueror, and not Dr. Doom like myself and others have speculated. Now, this is a departure from the Secret Wars of the comics, especially the Jonathan Hickman run, but I think it'll still be good nonetheless, especially considering the ties that Kang the Conqueror has to every team, basically. I mean, the first appearance of Kang the Conqueror was all the way back in Avengers number 4, so he has been an Avengers villain since day one. Dr. Doom, on the other hand, of course, showed up in Fantastic Four issue number 5, so it wouldn't make sense, truly, to have Dr. Doom have one of his first appearances be as the main villain of an Avengers film, unless they're building up to it slowly but surely. But to me, considering there are so many different variants of Kang the Conqueror, I mean, in one variation, he was responsible for creating Apocalypse. That's awesome, and we would be able to tie in the mutants that way. And in another variant, he was a descendant of Reed Richards. That way we can bring in the Fantastic Four as well. So it would make the most sense to have Kang the Conqueror be the villain in Secret Wars, especially since it's picking up after Kang Dynasty. They'd really be able to explore having different variants of Kang be the villains for each film, and having them get progressively more and more twisted and demented. I think that would be really cool to see, especially if they bring in representatives of these other teams, like these leaks and rumors are reporting. They'd be able to get characters from the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and maybe even bring in characters that already have an established relationship and knowledge of Kang. That way you have somebody with a little more inside baseball. But what do you think about this? Are you excited to see Kang the Conqueror be not only the villain of Kang Dynasty, but also Secret Wars? Are you a bit disappointed that we won't be seeing Dr. Doom as the main villain? Comment down below and let me know. And please, if you like the content, don't forget to subscribe. Yesterday, Marvel released the trailer for Ant-Man 3. It also gave us our first true look at Kang the Conqueror, who seems to be the main villain of this movie. However, I don't believe it gave us a look at the secondary villain of the film, MODOK. Now, MODOK has been shown in leaked images, and we have seen the concept art for him, but it doesn't look like we've seen him in the actual trailer. Now, Jonathan Majors in this film does look incredible in a comic-accurate version of Kang the Conqueror. It'll be interesting seeing if they actually move forward with it being Nathaniel Richards, or if they change his origin a little bit. I do think that it was a little strange that they recast Cassie Lang, but it's their decision. The visuals were incredible, and it does give us a good look into the quantum realm and the different beings that live in there. I believe this may be one of the most substantial films that Marvel is going to be releasing anytime soon, as this will lead directly into Avengers Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. I wonder how they're going to portray Kang in this movie. I wonder if he's going to be as ruthless as he is in the comics. I guess only time will tell. What did you think of the trailer? Comment down below and let me know. And don't forget to subscribe. According to multiple reports, Adam Driver has met with Marvel about a future role in the MCU. Now, there are rumors going around that Adam Driver could either be playing a version of Reed Richards in the MCU, or even Dr. Doom. We all know Adam Driver does have a history of playing a masked villain. If he is playing Dr. Doom, let's just hope he doesn't play him as whiny as he did Kylo Ren. And if he is playing Reed Richards, I think that would be very interesting to see. But what do you think? Comment down below and let me know. And don't forget to subscribe. Who could be the villain of Deadpool 3? With all the speculation right now about Deadpool 3, there hasn't been much talk about who the antagonist could be. As time goes on, I'm starting to think that Deadpool 3 might not have a traditional antagonist. However, I think that Deadpool 3 might be a culmination of all of Wade's time travel mistakes coming back to haunt him. I think that Deadpool himself will be responsible for whatever disaster causes Wolverine and Deadpool to team up. I believe that whatever this may be will cause the Fox universe to end and collide with the 616 MCU. Who knows? We might even see other Fox properties that return to Marvel, like characters from the Fantastic Four. What do you want to see? Let me know down below, and please don't forget to subscribe. Possible spoilers for Wakanda Forever. The cast has recently stated that people haven't guessed who the new Black Panther is. I believe it could be M'Baku or Nakia. M'Baku's tribe worship an ape god, but in Black Panther, it was said that the winner of a trial by combat becomes the new king of Wakanda, and the new Black Panther. It happened with Killmonger in that same movie. So why couldn't it be M'Baku? The other option would be Nakia, as she is shown to have incredible fighting prowess and has a stronger relationship in history with the fallen King T'Challa. Promos have shown Shuri is the Black Panther, but she is more of an inventor than a warrior, so I would think that she would step aside once the threat of Namor subsides. But let me know what you think. Like and subscribe for more theories. Looks like Galactus and Silver Surfer will soon be making their debut in the MCU. According to rumors, looks like Silver Surfer and Galactus will be coming to the MCU shortly. They may either be coming in a movie, or by new reports, they may be coming in a new Marvel special, like Werewolf by Night. I don't know about you. I won't be satisfied unless Galactus is a cloud. Let me know what you think. Comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. According to recent reports, we could be seeing Robert Downey Jr. returning as Tony Stark Iron Man in Secret Wars. Now, I for one am very excited to see this happen. In this film, we'll most likely be seeing all of the returning characters from the MCU that we haven't seen in many years. I think in this film we'll be seeing all of our Phase 1 Avengers reassembled. Plus, look at the last movie that Robert Downey Jr. was in. Doolittle. Yes, Doolittle was Robert Downey Jr.'s last movie. What do you think about this news? Comment down below, let me know, and subscribe. If Robert Downey Jr. came back in Secret Wars, would it diminish his sacrifice in Avengers Endgame? It's been rumored that Robert Downey Jr. is going to reprise his role as Iron Man in Avengers Secret Wars. We haven't seen Iron Man since he heroically sacrificed himself in Avengers Endgame, so this has led to many people asking, should he come back? Would this diminish his sacrifice? Personally, I don't think so. Because it's not going to be the same version of Tony Stark that sacrificed himself in Endgame. It's going to be a new one from across the multiverse. That's how they're also going to be able to bring in Steve Rogers' Captain America and Black Widow. Thematically, it does make sense to bring him back in Secret Wars so we can have everybody team up one last time. Plus, look what they did in Multiverse of Madness. They brought back Patrick Stewart just to kill him later in the same movie. Realistically, if they bring him back, it's not going to be for something substantial beyond Secret Wars. It's going to be for one last hurrah. But let me know what you think. Comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Honestly, with how fast Marvel's been moving recently, it feels like they looked at DC and said, hey, you know what we've been doing for the last, I don't know, 10 years? F it, let's just do what DC's doing instead. And that, my friends, is how we ended up with She-Hulk. Well, looks like Harrison Ford is officially coming on board to play Red Hulk moving forward in the MCU. He's filling the void left by the passing of William Hurt, and honestly, this seems like something that would be right up Harrison Ford's alley, playing a very angry old man. But in all honesty, I think he's going to be great. As long as you don't let him near any planes. What do you think? Comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Well, now that She-Hulk's done, I feel like now's a good time to say it. Marvel, you need to slow down. Ever since Disney Plus launched, you've been releasing series after series at a breakneck speed and putting out as many movies as you can. There's been a noticeable drop not only in visual quality, but storytelling as well. Honestly, with how fast Marvel's been moving recently, it feels like they looked at DC and said, hey, you know what we've been doing for the last, I don't know, 10 years? F it, let's just do what DC's doing instead. And that, my friends, is how we ended up with She-Hulk. Generally, I do like what Marvel's been putting out, except for recently it's been pretty lackluster. Jesus, guys, come on, slow down. And honestly, since they've already delayed Fantastic Four, Blade, Deadpool, and Secret Wars, I think we'd all be fine if we waited just a little bit longer to make sure that everything is really good. What do you think? Comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Last month, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman decided to surprise the entire internet by announcing Deadpool 3. A lot of people were excited that Wolverine was coming back to the MCU. Here's why I don't think we're going to be getting the mutants all too soon. Now, I don't think that they're going to be coming into the MCU proper at this point, considering this movie is coming out right before Avengers, Kang Dynasty, and Secret Wars. It makes the most sense that they would be using Secret Wars to bring back classic X-Men characters and Fox Universe actors, and then move forward after the fact, creating their own X-Men for the MCU. I think they're going to be using Secret Wars as Phase 6's Spider-Man No Way Home to bring back that nostalgia factor and to give everybody more reasons to want to see this film, as it'll be the culmination of the Fox, Sony, and Marvel universes. Who will be the villain of Spider-Man 4? Since the end of Spider-Man No Way Home, there's been much speculation about the future of the webhead. We know that Sony and Marvel have agreed to continue Tom Holland's Spider-Man universe, but now that nobody remembers that Peter is Spider-Man, what could be next? We've already seen classic villains like Green Goblin and Mysterio, but I believe we can be seeing another familiar face soon. I think that Kingpin will be the next villain in Spider-Man 4, because of Daredevil showing up not only in Spider-Man No Way Home, but She-Hulk too. Plus, Kingpin and Daredevil are both set to come back in Echo and Daredevil Born Again. Let's not forget, before Wilson Fisk was one of Daredevil's biggest foes, he was an enemy of Spider-Man. What do you think of my theory? Let me know down below, and please don't forget to subscribe. Last month, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman decided to surprise the entire internet by announcing Deadpool 3. A lot of people were excited that Wolverine was coming back to the MCU. Here's why I don't think we're going to be getting the mutants all too soon. Now, I don't think that they're going to be coming into the MCU proper at this point, considering this movie is coming out right before Avengers, Kang Dynasty, and Secret Wars. It makes the most sense that they would be using Secret Wars to bring back classic X-Men characters and Fox Universe actors, and then move forward after the fact, creating their own X-Men for the MCU. I think they're going to be using Secret Wars as Phase 6's Spider-Man No Way Home to bring back that nostalgia factor and to give everybody more reasons to want to see this film, as it'll be the culmination of the Fox, Sony, and Marvel universes. This will really give Marvel the opportunity to bring back classic actors with the brand recognition that they've had for so long, In Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart's case, they've been synonymous with the characters of Professor X and Wolverine for at least 20 years. So it would make the most sense for Marvel to capitalize on this brand recognition and bring them back for one big finale. Yes, they did get to say their goodbyes in Logan, but everything changes with the multiverse. They already said that they were done, but Patrick Stewart came back for Multiverse of Madness, and Hugh Jackman decided to come back for Deadpool 3. So who's to say that Deadpool 3 will really be Hugh Jackman's last outing with the Claws? Secret Wars, on the other hand, give them the opportunity to interact with other characters from the Marvel Universe, something they really didn't have the chance to do with the Fox characters. They were really isolated in who they would be able to work with, so having all of them be able to meet in Secret Wars on Battleworld would really give them the opportunity to branch out. And who knows, we could even see returning characters from the old Fantastic Four. I mean, it would be really funny to see Human Torch Chris Evans interact with Captain America Chris Evans. It would also give a chance to bring the first-class actors in touch with the original X-Men. They did that once with Days of Future Past, but this would give them the chance to mingle with other characters from different franchises. And once we do get Secret Wars, we'll really be able to see who Marvel is wanting to keep moving forward. Maybe Secret Wars is going to be their trial run to see who they want to keep on from the previous universes. But I guess only time will tell. Secret Wars can be the point where we can bring in characters from across the multiverse. To me, it makes the most sense for Marvel to bring in the old actors from the X-Men movies, get one last hurrah with them so they can get a final send-off, and recast moving forward after Secret Wars. I mean, in the comics, Secret Wars is where they bring in all characters from across the multiverse. I mean, look at the new Jonathan Hickman run. It also gives them a chance for all of these characters to finally be able to interact with each other, which is something they really couldn't do when the universes were separate. Plus, they're able to get the recognition of the former actors coming back for their roles, and create their own stories moving forward without having to rely on previous movies. This would also give credibility to some of the rumors that were circulating around Giancarlo Esposito coming in as Professor X for the future, and possibly even Denzel Washington coming in as Magneto. That would be something really interesting to see. I personally am really behind that idea. I think it would be an interesting take. There was really dark history around Magneto in the past. They could possibly even tie it into darker history of modern day. Who knows? They could say that the X gene could slow down his aging. It would be interesting to set him around something very traumatic, like some versions of Magneto were, like in X-Men First Class, where they had Michael Fassbender's Magneto centered around the Holocaust and concentration camps. They can make the X gene slow down Magneto's aging to make him around for something like the Tulsa Massacre, which was recently highlighted in HBO's Watchmen. Just a thought, but it's a way that they could change the actors just a little while sticking true to previous themes from the movies and comics. This would also give them the opportunity to tell new and interesting stories, something that isn't just a rehash of previous films or comics. But who knows, maybe they will keep some of the X-Men from previous films. Maybe they'll finally bring back Evan Peters as Quicksilver, and not just a cheap throwaway joke.
Boner.
I don't think that we're finished seeing them just yet, but I guess only time will tell. Who would you want to see recast? Or who would you want to see brought back from previous versions of the films? But let me know what you think. Like and subscribe for more theories.